So, we are taking a look at the Crocodile Dundee as a part of the birth month. Don't know if I'll do the sequel this month, as I did not watch it as much as the first one. I don't even really remember anything from the second one, to be honest. I always thought that the first one, because when I first bought this, I didn't watch them right away. And so I always thought that the first one was entirely in the outback, and then the second one was where they would go to the city, because, the city. But no, he goes to the city in this one. I always thought the arsenal of knife was from the second one. It's from the first one. So Crocodile Dundee tells the story of a woman named Sue Charlton. She goes to the Australian outback to write a story on the legendary Mick Crocodile Dundee. The stories are bullshit. There's he got his leg bit off, but he's got both legs when he walks in. So yeah, and she's kind of like looking at it. And it's a fish out of water movie in two different ways. First, you have Sue, who's accustomed to city life, and she's out in the outback with the animals and stuff like that. But then, halfway through the film, you have Mick, who goes to New York and has to adjust to city life. And it all ends with... This all ends up being a love story, which has always just come out of nowhere for me. Like, even watching it this time, it's like she's like, she goes down there to write a story. She already has like a boyfriend or a fiance or whatever, but she goes on there to write a story, and she decides to bring him back to the city to finish the story, which I don't know how necessary that is. Maybe not necessary at all, but it gives us a double perspective. We see the perspective of the outback from someone who had spent her entire life in the city, and then we get to experience the point of view of the guy who grew up in the outback and the jungles and stuff, and now is in the city. But the love story for me does kind of just come out of nowhere. Like, yeah, they have a connection, but it kind of really starts to show when the maid goes to drop off the towels, and you can see that Sue is visibly jealous of this, thinking that he was sleeping with the maid or something. I will point out that he makes a joke here that doesn't make sense in the context of the scene that we saw just a few minutes earlier. In this scene, he is approached by a couple of hookers. He doesn't understand the concept of sex for money because he's from the outback. Their pimp shows up, and, you get the infamous dubbed over line. "Are you gonna screw them or what?" And he punches him in the face. Now, those of you who don't know the behind the scenes on this probably won't understand why he punched him. Saying screw, is that offensive? The actual line was, "Are you gonna fuck him or what?" But in the Americanized version, they overdubbed it with the word screw. Despite the fact that in a PG-13 movie, you can have one F-bomb. That's legal. But, yeah. But then, in the very next scene or a couple scenes later, because he doesn't understand it, scene later when Sue is pretending to be the maid, Senor Dundee, Senor Meek, he makes a comment about room service having a different meaning. And I'm like, wait, you don't get the concept of sex for money, but you know what the room service could somewhat entail. It's a joke. It's like having pop culture jokes in the Flintstones or something. It just doesn't add up. You know, it's like, what was the, I don't know, but it just doesn't make any, sense of it. But yes, we get the scene where Mick and Sue are held up by a guy with a knife, a switchblade, and he goes, give him your wallet. She goes, give me your wallet. He goes, why? He goes, he's got a knife. That's not a knife. He pulls out a big one. That's a knife. Cuts the guy's thing. Apparently that was actually made of rubber. All the knives are made of rubber, which is smart. You don't want, unless you really have someone who knows how to handle them, which I don't know if Paul Hogan, not Hulk Hogan. Could you see Hulk Hogan in this role? Good eye, brother. I'm gonna get kicked in the ass for that. But anyway, yeah. That's a knife scene. There's also an infamous scene that, so I always find this so weird. Like, why would it just be out there in the... So, the scene is this. This guy is snorting cocaine. And Mick comes up, thinks he's got a cold, so he dumps the cocaine into a bowl, takes some steaming water, puts it in there like he's, trying to help aromanate. I don't know if that would help with the cocaineness, but, like... I mean, I've never done cocaine, never intend to, but... it just... What has got me, especially this time watching it, is like... Do they just have people sitting? Like, the depiction of New York in this film, I don't think is all that accurate. Would they just have hookers walking down the street for no reason? Would they just have people doing coke at random parties? Which, it happens. But, the way that Sue is so nonchalant about it, she's like, oh, that's a couple $100 worth of cocaine. And it's just like, this is common knowledge. No one's trying to call the cops. They just accept that someone's doing cocaine. Like, it's just... He's like, what's cocaine? And she's like, it's a drug. It gets you high. And I'm just like, yeah, an illegal drug. Which could also get you 25 to life. But she's just so nonchalant about it. She doesn't even inform Mick that it's illegal. What if he decides to go buy some? Like, they didn't do it. What if he decided to, I really not my cocaine. I'm gonna go buy him some more. Apologies to all Australians watching this. I'm gonna go buy him some more. And then he ends up going to jail for buying cocaine because it's illegal. You gotta tell him, man, because he's a fish out of water. They don't go that route, but it's just kind of bugged me this time around. I'm just like, yeah, you should probably tell him that it is illegal, and if he tries to buy any, he's going to go to jail for a very long time. Just saying. But yeah, you get the most memorable scenes are the one where he fights the Croc, the one, that's not a knife. Probably the hooker scene, the bathtub scene. I like the bathtub scene, just because you see a nice leg come around the thing. I like when Sue walks into there at first, and she sees that he's been sleeping on the floor, because that's what he's used to. He's used to roughing it. A nice bed like that, And then we get the scene at the end, where Mick has had enough because he believes that Sue is going to marry her boyfriend that she was with before she met him, and should rightfully do so, but he gets pissed because, oh, you're not going to marry me. Why would she? But then we get all of a sudden she says, I'm not going to marry Richard and I love you. And then they have this thing where they meet up. And it's just okay, I've watched this a few times and I watched it this time. I just don't see where this business proposition becomes a romance. Maybe I missed it. Let me know in the comments below, but I just don't see it. Like, she brings him in, she introduces him to her boyfriend, and then all of a sudden, in the scene where the maid comes in, she looks jealous. And that's when you're supposed to be like, oh, there's feelings between them. But, yes, I get it. Spending time with someone can change someone's point of view and can change how you feel about them. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. Sometimes you hang around someone so much you just want to punch them in the face and throw them out the goddamn window. Tell them to stop with the goddamn bird noises when you're trying to watch TV. And then they leave and you have to rewatch the movie you just got done watching because you didn't pay attention to it because they wouldn't shut the fuck up. But that's why they're friends. And you deal with it because they're your friends. And all the bullshit that your friends put you through because they're your friends. And deep down inside, in a hetero way, you love them. But here, we're presented that in the span of a few days, she's met, fallen in love, and wants to be with Mick Dundee. And the same has gone both ways, not in that way, but for Mick as well. I can see for Mick. I can see it working from Mick's point of view. He's this, beautiful woman shows up. She's nice in a bathing suit. She looks nice. She's got nice curves. Very beautiful, gorgeous woman, the Kozlowski, by the way. And she wants to do, a story on him. So and you're Mick. You're the legend. And so you're going to put on, you put on a show. You're going to try to impress her with everything. I snort a knife and taking down the crocodile. And, yeah. And maybe you'll end up with feelings for her. But on the other side, from her point of view, you're a dude that lives off the ground, in bogs and shit. Although there is that scene where they eat like a snake or something, and it tastes terrible, and he's like, yeah, they'll keep you, they'll keep you alive, but it tastes like shit, or something like that. That line where, So, what I'm saying is, Mick falling in love with Sue, that is believable. Sue falling in love with Mick, less believable. Maybe once they got to the city, I can believe it. Because he's a little bit different in the city. Like, he didn't know how to cross the street. And so he had to have the cop on a horse. But do New York have cops on horses? I never been in New York, so I wouldn't know. But I'm just saying. But yeah, and then it ends at this point. I do really like this film. It's one of the films I grew up with. I would constantly ask my grandma, can I watch Crocodile Dundee? Can I watch Crocodile Dundee? Another one was Child's Play. And Jumpin' Jack Flash, which I can't find anywhere. I might have to do like a trailer reaction video or something to try to jog my memory, because I don't even remember it to even talk about it. But yeah. As it stands though, Crocodile Dundee, for me, gets an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's fun to watch. I actually watched, it's the second half of this movie with my son a month ago or so, before this whole stuff happened. But yeah, it's enjoyable. 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on Crocodile Dundee? By the way, this is also Americanized. The title with the quotation marks, Crocodile Dundee. In the actual Australian version, it's just Crocodile Dundee. No quotations or anything. But they did this in America because they didn't want people to think it was a monster movie. I guess the movie Alligator came out shortly before this. I don't know. This came out in 1986. I wasn't even born yet. But, yeah. And like I said, I don't know if I'll get to the sequel in this month because I got other stuff I want to do. But I will eventually get to it. And then there's the in Los Angeles one, which I don't have physically. I might be able to find it somewhere, but I didn't really care for that one. The second one's okay. Didn't particularly care for the third one, if you want my honest opinions on that. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on Crocodile Dundee? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. Good day, mate. Again, I apologize to the Australians. I'm sorry. So sorry. Please don't get the torches and Please don't get the torches and pitchforks. I'm sorry.